In this tutorial we're going to look at how we can respawn our character back to a starting position or any other position within our game. To show you an example of this, here is my first person controller, and if they fall off the stage, they respawn back onto the point that I want. So let's look at how we can create a respawn point when we die. The first thing we need to create is an object that we can collide with that will be known as a death object. So I'm just going to create a 3D cube, and we've made this cube before, but what I'm going to do at the moment is I'm going to move it down below the height of the stage here, or the floor here. The floor is set to 0, 0, but I'm going to go down to -10. And then I'm going to make it larger than what the floor is, so I'm going to have 40, 1, and then 40. So it's bigger than what the floor is. I'm also, now that it's selected, I'm just going to rename this as death. So we know that it's what we're colliding with, and also I'm going to make it a trigger. I'm going to add a rigid body to it, so if you type in rigid, R-I-G, you'll see rigid body come up, and that way we know that it will pick up a collision. Also I can set the X, Y, Z and lock that down so it doesn't move. And the last thing I want to do is make it invisible so I don't see it from the top, is I'm just going to turn the mesh render off. So it still has a physical property, but we won't actually see it. The other object we need is the respawn point. So to do that, I'm going to add, once again, another cube, but this time it's going to be gameObject, and it's going to be an empty object. And I'm just going to move that up off the stage. So if we spin it around, you can still see the cube, and if you want to move it into the position of where you start, then we can actually drop into that same point. So I can just move it up a little, and so when we respawn, we'll actually respawn at this point. Just give a name of respawn point 01. So we're actually going to create and land there. Now the other thing we're going to do is make sure that our player FPS control is actually tagged as part of player. So it's now part of that tag group. And now we have all our objects, and we're ready now to create the script. So when our player, our FPS, falls off and hits the death floor, we want to respawn at the game object and land here so we can go again. So now what we need to do is actually go in and create a script for this. So I'm going to go into my scripts, and I'm going to create a new script, C# script, and I'm going to call it respawn. And I'm going to go into that respawn script. And one of the first things we need to do is actually make some reference points. So these are going to be within this function. They're not going to be public, they're just going to be localized one. What I'm going to use is a serialized field, and it's going to be private, and I'm going to transform and it's going to be player. Also I need a serialize field as well, and it's going to be private once more. We're going to transform once more, and this is going to be the respawn point. Now once we've done that, I'm just going to remove these current functions as we're not going to use them, and we're going to create a new function in here, and it's going to be void, and it'll be on trigger enter, and we're looking for the collider and other. And I'm going to open a brace and also close a brace. Now within here we're going to put one line. We're going to make the player dot transform in lowercase this time dot position is going to be equal to the respawn position, or the respawn point dot transform once again dot position. And we're going to save that. Now once we've saved the respawn script, we're now going to head back to our stage. We're going to select the death floor, and we're going to assign the respawn to that by sliding down to the bottom, moving respawn across, and adding this script. You'll notice that we also have player and respawn. So in player we're going to put the FPSController, and in respawn point we're going to put in respawn point 1. So it's going to bring in the respawn point information from the game object, and also the player position. So now when we run our game, we should be able to fall off the edge and respawn at this point. So let's go and jump off the edge. And and now we're back at the start again. So walk off the edge, and then we respawn. So you can go and create other depth floors and have them depth floor 1, 2, 3, 4, and they'll be smaller. And also you can have different respawn points, like respawn 1, 2, 3, 4, and use the properties if they hit those different depth floors. So I hope you found this tutorial informative. If you liked it, give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Also have a look around at the other Unity tutorials on my YouTube channel. And I wish you all the best in your game development.